Evelyn Farkas, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Russia, Ukraine, and Eurasia under the Obama administration. Evelyn, thanks so much. These hostilities have really added up quickly. Putin provokes, the West responds, Putin blames the West. Is this part of a Putin playbook? Are we kind of playing in his game?
Well, Shep, first of all, thanks for having me on. Putin has a long history of using military intimidation to gain political and economic control over states. I mean, he's occupying 20% of the territory of the Republic of Georgia. You might remember in 2008, Russia invaded its neighbor Georgia under the Bush administration. He also occupies, he's got bases in Moldova, in a breakaway region called Transnistria, and the list goes on. So he is used to using that card, that military card, that bully coercion to get his way politically. And now he's trying to get his way, not just vis-a-vis Ukraine itself, because he won't stop there. And he's been very clear in his communication to the United States that he essentially wants NATO to be defanged, essentially more or less powerless to counter Russia, to deter Russia. And he is really challenging the international order because his violation of Ukraine's sovereignty, starting with the annexation of Crimea, really runs counter to the bedrock of the post-World War II order, which says that borders cannot be altered using military force.
You know, the White House has really laid out all the possibilities, from cyber attacks to Russia putting a puppet government in Ukraine. They're trying to keep Americans from facing some kind of shocking surprise, which is understandable. But how do you really see this playing out? What's Putin likely to actually do?
Well, so I'm afraid that he's not going to just take the diplomatic course because, you know, while the administration has given them an answer in writing, as you said in the opening, they're not going to compromise, as you also said, on key core principles. NATO is a collective defensive alliance. We're not going to dismantle it because it keeps all of the members safe. And now we find out that Russia actually is a threat. And these recent deployments to Belarus, as you said, on the border with 3 of our allies, it's problematic. So what do I think he's going to do? I think he's likely to take military action, unfortunately. It still looks like he's not going to back away. Although with Vladimir Putin, you never know till the last minute, till he makes the decision. And he's likely to do something small. I don't think he's going to overrun the whole country because that is riskier, but we can't rule it out. I think he'll likely take Donbass, the region where they've been fighting anyway, and maybe the canal outside of Crimea because he needs the water from there.
You know, new to these kinds of hostilities is this brand new chamber of pro-Russia commentary on American, greatly listened to media that plays on military bases all over the world. How concerning is that to you?
It's incredibly concerning, Shep. We've seen, frankly speaking, the Russians kind of started it. I mean, they started and they teamed up with far-right networks and far-right individuals in the United States in 2016 to try to meddle in our elections. And they did have some impact on the election outcome, although how much is hard to tell, but certainly on the division in our country. And frankly speaking, hosts like Tucker Carlson, I'll say it, on Fox News, who is, you know, buddying with Viktor Orban from my parents' home country, which, you know, Viktor Orban has basically said he's an illiberal democracy, illiberal Democrat, which means he's not really trying to be a Democrat. And the defending of Russia and what Russia's doing is really dangerous because we don't want the American people confused about what side America's on. We are a democracy. And thankfully, in Congress, we still have a majority of both, you know, members from both parties understanding what Russia's doing is dangerous to our interests.
Evelyn Farkas, so good of you. Thank you.